gun industry drama. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we're going to get a little bit of scandal out of this one. And I think that that news will hopefully come today sometime. So I'm going to set the stage for you. When I saw this news break last night, I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing first thing in the morning. The National Shooting Sports Foundation, the NSSF, the people who many of you will recognize is responsible for the largest gun show in the world, SHOT Show, that happens in Vegas every year, has really stepped in it. And they have done this by failing to support a fellow Second Amendment organization that was challenging a magazine ban. As in, like, the whole reason that these foundations are formed is to band together for the purposes of fighting against a tyrannical government. NSSF has denied an opportunity to aid in a lawsuit that was going for final merits, by the way, which is a problem. So the NFGR, National Foundation for Gun Rights, was challenging Colorado's 2013 ban, and NSSF left them high and dry.
I'm afraid I have some unfortunate news to share about one of our lawsuits. We're going to have to bite the bullet and withdraw our current case against the 2013 Colorado magazine ban.
What hangs in the balance? An outright boycott of SHOT Show this year. And I kind of agree with it. So I'm going to tell you what went down, and then we'll have a little bit of an opinion section where I flesh out some ideas that I have in advance of the NSSF coming out and clarifying, because they had best get on this like first thing this morning, or they are in big, big, big trouble. Today's video is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. They are my go-to stop for anything medical related. It doesn't matter whether you need bumps and bruises kit or whether you need real equipment like chest seals or a cat tourniquet or something like that. They have got a bunch of medical kits over there. Again, they are my go-to shop, and they are great people. I've known Dietrich and the crew over there for going on like 10 years now. So they are definitely a place that you should check out if you're looking to augment your medical equipment needs. And they have a discount code for all of you who are VSO subscribers. You can find that information over on the affiliates page. And special thanks to Medical Gear Outfitters for making today's video possible. In the intro, you heard from Hannah Hill at NAGR, NFGR. Think of them as like NRA ILA, even though that's a really bad analogy because they're way better than the NRA ILA. That said, I think that the most concise way to give this information to you is just to signal boost Hannah's video. So I'm going to show you an excerpt, and I'll have the full video available for your viewing pleasure in all the relevant places where we put those links.
In a nutshell, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the NSSF, refused to testify to the facts in their own study on the prevalence of standard capacity magazines in our lawsuit. The NSSF is the group that conducted this study, so they were essential to the process of using this evidence to destroy the Colorado mag ban. We mistakenly thought they were going to be our ally in this case. Based on a series of communications going all the way back to last January, we believed that the NSSF would allow their research director to give a deposition in our case so that we could present that study to the court. Then, at the last minute, after it was too late to go a different route and find someone else to speak to this evidence, the NSSF refused to allow their research director to give the critical deposition. That decision left our case dead in the water, because at that point we had no way to present this vital, up-to-date evidence to the court to back up our claims.
Hannah is such a boss. Thank you for doing that video. I think that concisely explains what went down. They submitted the study to the court. They even had electronic communications that said, yeah, this millions upon millions of these things to establish common use. And then at the last minute, they say, yeah, we're not going to send our guy and let him do a deposition. So you submit the evidence, and then you have to have a supporting deposition for that. Yeah, didn't happen. And too late to reverse, and so NFGR got screwed. I don't think that there's any understating this. That is a really, really bad look. And the NSSF had best have a really, really good excuse, because that's what it'll be, an excuse for this behavior. On my way into work this morning, I went through thought experiments to try to uncover for myself what could possibly be the motivation for this kind of behavior. And I will tell you that I only came up with really, really bad motivations. But to start out with, I think I'll start with what we absolutely will not accept from the NSSF, and that is this person was not available. Bullshit, for multiple reasons. First of all, that person, if they were unavailable, had best be comatose somewhere. If they are not currently in a hospital bed somewhere, then the NSSF goes down for this Benedict Arnold activity. Second of all, what I would say about not available is there's nobody else that you could send. And 3, depositions can be given electronically these days. You don't physically have to show up to a place in all instances to be able to give a deposition. So any claim by the NSSF that it was hard to do or there was a logistics problem or any of that sort of stuff, my phone is going off this morning about this, is absolute crap. So any claim by them that this was something that they couldn't accomplish because of personnel problems or, whatever it was, ain't buying it. And you shouldn't either. The second thing that came to my mind was, and I'm going to be as cordial as I possibly can with this, at both NSSF and NFGR, NAGR, there are personnel that I have had the thorough displeasure of interacting with in my career. There are some real pieces of work on both sides of this argument, and it would not surprise me whatsoever if those personalities led to interpersonal conflict that ultimately resulted in this project getting dropped. That also is not acceptable behavior. NFGR, NAGR, or if that is NSSF person said something that pissed the other person off and they decided not to support it anymore, that is not okay. We're talking about the actions that are taken by an organization on behalf of their members, on behalf of the people of Colorado. We do not behave this way in gun rights organizations. It is unacceptable for you to do this. When you are working on a project to smack down a ban like this, which could have at least statewide implications, but also national implications, you have a responsibility to see this one through, regardless of the people that you may have to work with. So not buying that one either, whoever's fault that is, if that ends up being the case. 3 and 4 are kind of similar, so I'm going to smash them together in a single thought. NSSF is gatekeeping their information because perhaps they want to file their own lawsuit, and because of that, they don't want to support another organization because NSSF wants the credit. That would be slimy as all get out. So that's also a really, really bad look. And then finally, the one that I think might be perhaps the most plausible, but possibly the worst of them all, is that NSSF, when they conducted their study, did so in a way that invalidates that study. And so they had their information submitted to the court, and nobody at NSSF is willing to stand up there and say, yes, this information is 100% true, and I'm going to put my name on this under threat of perjury. The NSSF has been plagued with allegations of subverting the right of the people to keep and bear arms for years now. Everything from what I would classify as minor things like just skipping out on opportunities like sticking your neck out to testify, filing their own lawsuits, things like that, to working directly with organizations like the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives to write policy, and even offering the BATFE a free booth at SHOT Show every year. So your mileage may vary as far as your perception of these things are concerned, but NSSF got some splaining to do on this one, and it had, again, better be a very, very good explanation. I want to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Will you be boycotting SHOT Show this year? Interesting to see. I want to know what happens on this, and I will give you a follow-up on this when I have more information. Although I think that possibly the worst thing they could do is just go silent, which seems to be the trend these days when major controversy goes down.